Hey, it's Mark Wahlberg. Welcome to Click TV.
Welcome to Click TV.
Well, then your first feature was knocked up and you actually gave up your day job then. What was it about that experience that just made you decide?
Yeah, I actually filmed Knocked Up and while I was doing my day job, and it was so, that to me was such a watershed moment because, I came back from that I don't know, it was like, it was, at that time, it was just the most amazing thing I'd ever done and coming in film. It was my first movie, and then I remember my wife was like, it's time for you to do this. I mean, you just work with the guy who directed 40-Year-Old Virgin. You know what I mean? You just worked with like Paul Rudd, Seth Rogen, Katherine Heigl. You just worked with Jonah Hill, Jason Segel. Yeah. You just work with those guys. I think it's time to give it, So it was actually my wife's encouragement. She actually told me to quit. So because she knew that was the way to go. And if anything, she gave me the courage to kind of do it full time.
The Hangover was your first, I suppose, major feature.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. That led to auditioning for The Hangover. And I remember when we filmed it, it wasn't, we were all relatively unknown. And I remember thinking, I think this is the funniest movie I've ever been a part of. I just hope people see it. And then at an early screening of it, at a rough cut screening of it, just for cast and crew and friends that Todd Phillips held, my wife saw it and she just got it from the moment, like when it's like, Tracy, we messed up. She just started crying, laughing. It was just like, man, she just said, this is not only the funniest movie you've ever been in, this is the funniest movie I've ever seen.
So you didn't think it was going to be a second movie at the time, but then when it was a massive success, was it a foregone conclusion for you guys, or?
No, I mean, I remember thinking like, I remember I had the biggest smile on my face in Thailand when we were filming Hangover 2, because I was going around Thailand going, I can't believe we're making a second one. I mean, this is amazing. I mean, who does that? In an R-rated movie, an R-rated sequel, who does that? And then to have a bigger part in the second one, and then to have an even expanded part in the third one, I don't know, man. From a guy who was only in the first movie for like 4 minutes and was only on set for 4 days, then to be on set for, 4 to 5 months on the third one, it really, to say that Hangover changed my life is an understatement. I mean, there's an old Keith Richards quote. It changed my life from black and white to Technicolor, It just changed everything.
But becoming the lead, is that something that you ever talked to Todd Phillips about? Because you are more or less the lead in the third movie to a large degree. Is it something that you ever talked about at a script stage, or did he just call you up one day and say, you've got a movie now?
He called me up one day and said, you got a movie now. It's as simple as that. And it was because of Todd's love of Chow and the audience's love of Chow that it's a combination of both that allowed me to do the third movie in such an expanded role, and it made me a better actor. Actually, Hangover 3 is the best thing I've ever done, because it's just the challenge of keeping Chow grounded in certain spots when he's going over the plan of certain things. Todd was really great at some of the nuance of keeping a character as large as Chow, keeping it, trying to make it more exposed and vulnerable. Like when Chow is singing "Hurt" at the karaoke bar, he's like, the instinct of the actor is kind of sing it good, It's like, oh, I hurt my, to do it like, a singer, because it says to sing, and Todd's like, no, you gotta, you're Chow, you're gonna be really embarrassed that you love this song so much that you feel compelled to do it at a karaoke stage. One of those songs that you're drawn, it's not like you want to do the song in front of people, you have to, and you hate yourself for having to do it on stage. It's a very subtle adjustment, and it just is the funniest thing ever. This was all Todd's direction, as he finishes singing the song, he knows he didn't sing it well, and he looks at the microphone, he just swats it away. That was all Todd Phillips. That wasn't me. Todd having that, I love seeing Todd generate ideas and things like that for the movie, because he's a genius. Yeah.
Well, Chow was kind of sinister but funny in the first two movies, but he becomes fairly evil as the three movies go on. Is that something that's more fun to play or more difficult, I suppose, to try and make him sympathetic still?
I think he'd evolved from like a villain to the anti-hero or something in some ways. So it's always a challenge, where, kind of, it really, to me, it's all about serving that story, because Chow in the third movie was really just from a technical perspective, it was a necessity for Chow to have that kind of part in the movie to contrast with Alan's growth and maturity. So it was using Chow in a way that would really just kind of heighten and shine a light onto Alan. And I think that was the important part from the story perspective. So, and I knew that going in because, you know, that's what I learned from Todd too, is like every actor, every part has a role. Sometimes it's big, sometimes it's small, but you got to serve that story. And that story really was Alan's journey. Yeah.
So many people are fans of the character. Obviously, they're going to ask if you're ever going to do a spin-off. Is that something that you'd be interested in?
I would love to do it. Chow's my favorite role I've ever played. I mean, I would do anything for Todd Phillips and the Hangover franchise. Having said that, though, we went in filming Hangover 3 knowing that's the last film we're going to ever do together in this capacity. So that was the plan all along, and it was bittersweet because, you know, you won't be able to work with these people in this capacity, but at the same time, you're also grateful that you did not one, not two, but 3 movies with your favorite guys, and these are my favorite guys I've ever worked with. Yeah.
I had a random question. I mean, you know the character quite well by now. If there was a biography of Leslie Chow, what would it be called?
Stop, Chow Crossing.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, it crosses through life, through the world, and literally just crossing from one point on a floor to another. So it's just on a macro level of crossing, like crossing the globe, crossing your emotion, crossing your soul, to literally getting up to go to the bathroom. It fills both needs.
Well, just finally, just to wrap up, you've been in some amazing big movies. You've done comedy, you've done action. Is there any massive franchise that you'd love to be in? I mean, there's so many Marvel movies and Star Wars movies being made. Is there anything like that that would appeal to you? What would be your dream big movie?
I'll be honest, like, I don't have those kind of dreams. I mean, those dreams, I just want to keep working on stuff that I like to do. And I don't even think on a grand scale of like, oh, it's got to be a tent pole, or oh, it's got to be a grainy indie movie, or it's got to be, or we got to put on a GoPro and make it, indie. You know, it's like to me, it literally is like, I feel like there's a wavelength of choices of roles or a wavelength of opportunity, and you just want to subscribe to that, and you want to see if that wavelength kind of subscribes to you. If that makes any sense, it's like I try to just keep things as the higher I go or the longer I go, I just try to keep things as simple as possible. I think when I started out, you think it's so complicated, which it is. It can be if you let it, but also if you let it, it can actually be a very simple process. Yeah, and I'm just trying to always err on the side of keeping it simple.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Great interview. Great job. Great job.